Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, cyberwarrior, and it is security happy hour. So today we have Cedrick and Parker. Now, as is the norm when I do these things, last week we had some people that have been doing a lot of things for the field for a while now, and this week we've got two guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. So, as normal, all right, what I want you to do is hit the subscribe button down below, hit that bell, hit the like button. That way you get notified anytime I put something new out. And yes, I'm down to one arm. I had surgery. It's okay. I'll be all right, guys. All right, I'm going to keep moving with these videos. We're going to be all right. But moving on, here's the hat, merchandise right here. All right, I got it for you. So what I want to do, though, is like every week, we're going to let these guys introduce themselves. And that way we can get to know them better. And then from there, we'll see where the night takes us. So, Cedrick, why don't you start us off? Tell us how you're getting started in the field, what you've been doing, and kind of what you're trying to do with your career.
Sure. My name is Cedrick. I go by Magi or Medjay, depending on how you want to pronounce it. On Twitter, it's Medjay009. Pretty much right now, I'm actually a threat analyst for a contracting company for the government. Essentially, I had a long journey, but pretty much was a recruiter that was recruiting IT to then being kind of help desk, fighting my way to get into cybersecurity. That whole journey took about maybe 3 years. And right now I'm just learning my job. Been there for about 6 months, and I'm just trying to, eventually get into, threat hunting, maybe possibly purple team stuff as well.
So you're looking more. So when you're talking purple team, right? We all know purple team is more the collaboration of red and blue. So it's more an
Right.
idea of it's more a concept than an actual team. But
Right. Yeah.
so do you want to? Are you trying to learn more of the offensive side? That way you can do both, or do you just like threat hunting more and wouldn't mind getting into the collaboration with a red teamer? You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
are you trying to be
Yeah.
able to do both?
Probably. Yeah. I definitely do want to be able to. I want to be skilled to do both. Or skilled enough to do both. And yeah, probably both. Actually, now that you said that.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to go if you really think about it, because of the fact that I mean, when we look at things and we look at how, everything's going. I'm gonna get yelled at. I'm gonna get yelled at. My logo was just moving in the recording, guys. All right, you probably can't see it, and if you know what, we're just gonna make it easy, and we're gonna hide that logo. I'm letting y'all know right now. It's gone. I just realized how bad it looked. All right, don't hate me. All right, we're still getting the hang of this video thing. Okay, guys. So, but yeah, when you look at everything, you've got red, blue, and purple, and then some people even throw other colors on it for AppSec and things like that. But
Right.
ideally, you have your red teamers that can break into things. You have blue teamers that do your threat hunting and secure your networks, and then your purple team concept comes from the collaboration of the two. So I think being able to do both gives you that capability to where you can talk both sides. So
Definitely.
no matter which team you're on, you can bring the aspects of the other. And that's something that's sorely missing, because we see a lot of blue teamers that are always looking for, oh, I want blue team training, I want blue team training, I want blue team training, which is great, but they neglect the fact that you also need to know how to break into something in order to secure it. Just like people that want to know how to break into something need to know how to secure it so they know what holes to look for. So
Definitely.
knowing both sides helps, and having experience on both sides helps. And I think that'll be great for Purple Team. And I think that's a great avenue to get into if you can find the right company down the line that'll allow you to bring that concept to them. So it's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. Parker, what about you, man? I know you're not necessarily in security right now, but you've been doing a lot of training. I met you on Security Blue Team. So what you got going on, man?
I been trying to get in this field for about 3 years. Did a lot of training with Security Blue Team. I did their ops training, Chimera. Really enjoyed that one. I love digital forensics and love to work in that field.
Okay, so you like more the, how would I put it? So if you're looking at digital forensics, you're looking more at the definitely blue team, but even more law enforcement side of things, right? So you're trying to forensically investigate things. So it's definitely a good field to get into. It's something that, again, something that we need with a lot of the problems going on today, and the way the world is changing, and has been probably now since the inception of computers and the internet and everything coming along. You know, we see a lot more malicious intent on the on the dark net and deep web and things like that. So we're being able to do digital forensics will play a pivotal role, and it does play a pivotal role now, whether we're catching murderers or whatever the case may be, being able to do those things. So talking to you, Parker, one of the big things that I want people to realize is that Security Blue Team is just a start, right? So it's about getting more. So knowing you've gone through Security Blue Team, and mind you, I'm on the academic advisory board for the certification BTL1. I want people to realize how valid this certification is, and even the training. So even if you don't do BTL1, I know you went through Chimera, right? So even that training, and then BTL1 and everything else, for blue teamers is going to play a pivotal role because of the fact that it's hands-on training. So, the capability of what that brings is the equivalent of what people now look for as OFSEC, right? So the OSCP and things like that is hands-on training. You're doing the job, you're learning how to do these things, and it's a well-respected cert within the community. And I think we're going to get to that level with BTL1 and BTL2, which, by God, Josh is looking to release it January of next year. That scares me, but
I saw that. I was like, wow, he's pushing them out.
That man does not sleep.
And he's got BTL3 in the works.
Yes, so there's going to be 3 levels. There's going to be 3 levels, right? So I definitely see a lot of good coming from it. Parker, I really do, between getting your name out now, and I think we need to make more connections on LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that. I want to get your name out there so people know that you've got training, and it's valid training. It's legitimate, blue team, phishing and threat hunting and Splunk and all this other stuff. So people need to realize what this training is and the fact that you have it. And yes, I know because the course is new, not a lot of people know about it. Well, people know, but it's not really hit the industry as much as some of these others. I want people to realize what it is so that you can get the position that you need, right? So we need to get you into like an analyst role, even at its lowest level, so that you can start making your way in the field. Because you are coming from sort of a position of you never did help desk or, system administration. So trying to find your way directly into security. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because you don't develop some of the bad habits that your help desk and your sysadmins and things like that get, right? So I've been in those roles. I've done help desk. I've done it. I've run the gambit on all of them, and you get some bad habits in those roles where it's blame everybody else but you. If you're a server admin, it's the network guy's fault. If you're a network guy, it's the ISP's fault. It's never your own fault. So with you coming in, I think it gives you that ability to collaborate more with IT and with security so that you can really work together because you don't have that, well, it wasn't me mentality. So it allows you to collaborate more. Now, one of the things I will say to that aspect, though, is we need to find a way to get you the training of IT under your belt so that you can talk the language with those guys as they speak it. And once you get to that point, whether it be A+, Net+, Sec+, whatever it is to prove you know what you know, because I believe you know it. I mean, I've talked to you. I know you know networking. I know you know security. I know you know these things. But unfortunately, in today's job path and the way job descriptions go out, we need to find a better way to get your name out there and have those certifications on there to prove you know these things. So we'll take today. We'll talk through everything between the three of us, and we'll really find a way to get both you and Cedrick the recognition you need to know the field, and so people realize that you guys know your shit. I mean, let's be honest. You've been doing it long enough, studying it. Studying on your own should be enough at this point, that people should realize that if you get one certification, especially something hands-on like BTL1, then you know what you're doing because you're able to follow the line. You're able to do threat hunting. You're able to do these things. But as I've said in some of my other videos, we also need to be able to collaborate with IT without putting them down. Because, yes, sometimes they're a weak link. Sometimes your server admins leave passwords in places they shouldn't. But if you automatically blame them, then it's going to, you're going to get that hole dug further and further for you where it becomes harder to dig yourself out. So
it dampens the personal relationship.
Exactly. So we need to be able to develop these relationships and talk to these people. So we'll get there, and I really do. One of the purposes behind Security Happy Hour is to get your guys' name out there so that people recognize that, these people know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing, and, there's somebody that any company can benefit from. All right. I know you're both workhorses. I've seen your work through, Security Blue Team and everything else like that. I've seen what you do in your day jobs and what you're doing now, and you're putting in the hours, you're doing the training, you're doing the learning. So it's a beautiful thing. Now, saying that, jobs, man, jobs. So I see so many things about the skills gap, right? And we still see it to this day. There's a skills gap. Let me get your guys' opinion. Parker, let's start with you. What's your opinion on the skills gap? Do you think there is one, or do you think it's more a HR hiring manager type of problem where the wrong job descriptions are going out, or they're just not willing to pay for the roles, or people are expecting to get paid something that it's not worth?
I think it's part of the problem is how the job descriptions are going out. They don't fully describe what you're going to be doing, and they have requirements that aren't necessary to what you need. Like a junior analyst shouldn't need 3 years of experience. It's impractical.
Right.
I've seen a lot of issues with hiring managers as well. They don't know what they're hiring for. The recruiters are out there and they're given a script of what to look for, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the job, so they can't recruit as well as they should.
So is it a problem? How do I put this? Because I've seen some recruiters, right? So my last company that I worked for, a recruiter got me that job, but they specialized in cyber jobs for veterans. So the recruiter had to know the cyber field to be able to put people in the right roles. Because let's keep in mind, these recruiters get paid off of putting people in the right roles, right? So if you don't work there, they don't get paid. So is it a recruiter, like a headhunting firm, or is it the recruiters for the companies that have more of the issue? Because I think some of the recruiting firms know the field, some, but I think the recruiters for the companies may, well, I ain't gonna say may not, most likely do not know the field and what questions or things like that should be asked. So is that the right way that you feel it's going?
Yeah, that's how I would describe it.
Okay.
The firms are really good about knowing what they're looking for. The internal recruiters, not so much.
Okay. Cedrick, what's your opinion, man? What you got?
Yeah, so I can probably speak to this at length because I was a recruiter for I guess a cybersecurity for a tech company. So I live, just to give back a little background, I used to kind of be a cybersecurity recruiter in the DC area. So I know this is like kind of, I mean, I know it's widespread, but I think specifically in the DC area, it's a lot of government contract. That's the majority of the cybersecurity jobs in the area. So I do think that a lot of recruiters don't know the field. So it's kind of like, I know when I was hired, I didn't know anything about cybersecurity. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew like people hacking stuff. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, so when I got hired, like I was a kind of junior recruiter, and they give you this job description that's very generic. If you don't know exactly what the hiring manager is looking for, you're not gonna understand how to ask the right questions to get the right information. See if somebody
Right.
actually knows. So for example, if you see, oh, you need a SOC analyst, you're just gonna go on job sites and look for a SOC analyst. You're looking for keywords at this point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking for certifications. I know when I was looking for cybersecurity, like recruiter wouldn't even talk to me if I didn't have a Sec Plus. Like the conversation would end. And it's not even about like if I know how to do it, what kind of training have I done on my own or anything. It was just like, do you have Sec Plus? No. Okay, well, call me when you get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely tough if you definitely don't have any certifications and you don't have experience. For sure.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I think experience is something that you do need. Now, again, to Parker's point earlier, when you're looking for someone that's in a junior role, now if you want to say experience in help desk or sysadmin or networking, that's one thing. But when you're looking for a junior role and you say you want someone with 2, 3, 4 years experience in like ArcSight or Splunk or whatever,
Right.
that's when you're like overstepping, because now you're trying to pay someone who's experienced in these things a junior level salary. And I think that's a big issue.
Definitely.
One of the other things I've seen is job descriptions go out asking for GIAC.
I've seen those. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've been asked that for like a 0 to 2 years experience, and I was like, wait, I thought this was like,
Well,
it's like how like
here's the funny thing about it is the ones that I've seen that ask for GIAC don't ask for specific cert. They say GIAC certification.
Yeah.
GIAC is an authority, so it's GIAC Security Essentials, GIAC Python Coder, GIAC Certified Enterprise Defender, I think it's called. GIAC Reverse Engineering Malware. SANS teaches the course. It's a SANS certification, but when you ask for GIAC and you don't give, Incident Handler or Python Coder or Security Essentials or whatever the case may be, that's the equivalent of saying I want someone that's ISC squared certified, or I want someone that's CompTIA certified.
Right. Yeah.
Which
Like,
one?
at that point, those are very specific certifications. You just want anybody with any.
I could have a G pen. I could have a G pen going for an analyst role.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. Again, knowing offense helps with defense, but still, that's a pen tester certification, not incident handling or incident response or anything like that. So that's why I had a recruiter, right when I retired from the Army. And I was like, hey, your job description here says GIAC. Which one? And he said, when his question was, what do you mean by which one? I knew the guy was just like lost. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, seriously, which one? I was like, because I have 4. Because at the time when I retired out of the Army, I had 4 from my courses, my MOS in the Army. And I was just like, oh, God. I was like, look, please take this job description back to whoever the company is and let them know to pinpoint an actual certification, because you're not going to find anybody, if that's what you're looking for, is something that says GIAC. You're not going to find it. Right. And so, we got a laugh out of that. He was like, oh, I didn't even know. I'm like, yeah, I know. I kind of son of a bitch. I was like, I got that feeling when you said, "What do you mean?" So yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem. But again, it comes down to the companies need to start knowing what they're looking for. And as entry level guys, and actually, Cedrick, you've got a few more years in than Parker for sure. But you're still in that beginning to mid stage of your career in cybersecurity. People need to start taking a harder look at these job descriptions, because that's where part of your issue with the skills gap comes from. Is I do believe there's a lot of talented people out there that may not have certification or may not have necessarily enterprise experience. And I'm not gonna lie, I had some he may have been a troll, who knows? It was on Discord. But I told him, I said, if you don't want certifications, then you still need to prove you know what you know. So you need to start a blog, you need to start a YouTube channel, you need to do a GitHub, any of these things to get your name out there, so you have proof. You can't just go out there and say, oh yeah, I know this, and expect to get hired. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's another avenue that we need to start exploring. But by doing that, the only way we're going to get there, because of the way HR systems work, is to really reach out to these hiring managers. We need to bypass the HR filter and everything else like that, and talk to the hiring managers, talk to the directors and the CISOs and things like that, and be like, hey, look, this is what I've done. This is where I'm at in my career. This is what I'm doing. Do you have anything of it? I see you. Don't even say, do you have? Look, I see this position available at your company. I have never heard back. Can you tell me why? Now, of course, you do that after introducing yourself, after doing your research on the company and whether or not you even want to work there. Because if you don't do that research, and you're no better than a salesperson at that point, right? So you need to do your research. You need to actually know the person you're talking to. So if you develop a conversation and a connection with this person, you can then say, hey, look, I've applied. I've never heard back. Have you even seen my resume?
Right.
Can you, I know you have this job out there. I know I'd be a good fit. Can you at least give me a shot? And they'll ask to see your resume 9 times out of 10. As long as you develop that connection first and actually that conversation. If you don't do that, I've seen people go in basically like a cold call of messaging someone like, hey, can you take a look at my resume and hire me, please? I need a job. Like, no hi, no how are you, no how's your day going? I mean, come on, let's be real here. So
makes you sound desperate.
yeah, and again, a lot of people are desperate. I get it, but you still need to have tact. You still need to be able to develop a relationship, because soft skills are something that's missing from our field. We get so in depth with technical and with knowing computers and knowing, offensive or defensive and whatever the case may be, that we lose those soft skills of being able to write a report, of being able to talk to, executives and directors and things of that nature. So we need to keep that in mind going forward, that soft skills are just as important, if not more so, than technical aptitude, because you can teach anybody technical. Soft skills are developed over time. Some people have it inherently, and some people do not. And so if you have to develop those soft skills, that's something I think us as security-minded individuals have to really get in touch with, is that ability to flip the switch and change how we speak and change how we write. Because we want to write in, it should just be blunt, when sometimes you need to break it down and really spell it out. I mean, let's be honest, not everybody's technical, so you need to be able to hit that lower level. So
you have to speak their language.
Exactly, and I might have a guy on. I got to email him. I forgot to email his secretary or admin assistant or whatever. I got to email the guy, and I apologize. It's a doctor, but he put up, CISOs are not security engineers, and he's right. They're not. Now, whether they came from that role or they didn't, they still need to know the business. So they get out of that role. They get away from the technical. So I think that's something we need to look into.
That's one of the probably the most important skills that I picked up from recruiting, because I had to talk to people so often. I learned how to like pick up a phone and just call a stranger. I don't know how they're even going to talk to me on the other end, and
Right.
that's why I was able to like kind of get my position now, because I was reaching out to like people on infosec Twitter, like, hello, my name is Cedrick. I saw this role you posted. I would love to hear more about this. How can I get in contact with you? I actually got a job offer from Twitter at one point, just from DMing the manager. So it's definitely being able to talk to people helps.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, and again, you have to be able to articulate, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's a big word for some people in the technical field because we want to be technical. Look, call me an asshole. I don't care. I don't get paid by YouTube, so it doesn't matter what I say. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to articulate these things and really speak to the executive level. And I had a conversation with one of my mentors, Keaton Evans, who put up something about a CISP being asked for. And I said, a CISP being asked for it at an analyst level just doesn't make sense. But he said something to me that I still carry with me to this day. And that is, you have to be able to talk to executives. If you can't speak to the business and how it affects the business, then that's why they asked for it. And I was like, dang it. I hate when you're right.
That's real. That's real.
But he's right. He's right.
Yeah.
And I used to get so mad at seeing CISP on some of these job descriptions. Now, again, for a junior level,
right.
And that's what I told him. I said, for a junior level, it should not be required. But when you're looking mid and senior, then it makes sense. Because, yes, you will interact with these people. So, yeah, jobs can get tricky like that. But again, you got to be able to talk to executives. So, Parker, I mean, other than what's going on, and Cedrick, same with you guys, man. What have you been seeing? What do you think? What can we do better in the security field? How can we bring things? And I've talked about it in other videos. I know I say that a lot, but I do a lot of videos, or at least I'm trying to. But how can we get ahead of the attackers? Because if we look at it, we're handcuffed, right? We gotta follow regulation. We gotta follow rules. Even when you're doing a pen test, like, there's time constraints that attackers don't have. There's rules of engagement that attackers don't have. So how do we get ahead of them when we are handcuffed and our hands are tied to ROE and all this other stuff?
Man, that's a hard one. So it's like, because it's like the barrier, like to break down the barrier of entry, you have to go through, at least for me. Yeah, I can't speak to other people, you know what I'm saying? But it was very difficult for me to like get the position like I wanted. And I just had to I just buckled down and got Security Plus. And once I got it, that's when it was just like everybody just had like I was noticeable, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was like invisible at first, so it was like, wow, this is really like, I get an interview because I just got this, I paid money for this cert, you know what I'm saying? So It's like, I think we have to kind of play the long game and, unfortunately do what we can now to get in the door. And once we get in the door and get more respect and move up in these companies, be able to talk to these people and say, once we build up that influence and be able to say, hey, we can close the skills gap if we take time and invest in, somebody who just really, really passionate about the field and wants to be in the field. We can start them at ground zero over here, and it'll take a while. It may take longer, but it may be, the investment will be worth it in the end.
So by closing that skills gap, does that get us ahead of the attackers? Or do you think, because my opinion is we're always going to be behind.
Yeah, like, it's
because no matter what, we're going to have rules of engagement, and we're going to have constructs that we have to follow that they don't. We're going to have time constraints.
Right.
Parker, what about you, man? Like, what can we do? Is there anything we can do to really get ahead and really make a difference?
I think the best way to try and get ahead is to get in the minds of the attacker, develop some of the skills they have, think what they're thinking, if you know what they're thinking and what they're going to do next, then you have a better way of countering them. You know.
So more a psychology aspect of it
Yeah.
versus a technical, which makes sense because if we look at it, we got to look at the companies we're working for, the companies we're trying to protect or help or whatever the case may be, and that what is somebody going to gain, and until nation states and until nation states go to the point of attacking critical infrastructure, which I'm not going to say hasn't been done. I'm not going to say it has been done because I really don't know. I'm not in that position to know. We only know what media we're fed. I think that a lot of it is about money or clout.
Yeah.
So, I was able to, make $100,000 on ransomware off of whatever school district or whatever police precinct or whatever the case may be. So I think clout becomes a big thing in that. Money, of course. I don't know, and again, I could be wrong, but I don't think we've seen very much. We've seen some hacktivism, some mostly in Europe and things like that.
There's been some here with all the riots, with
Yeah,
Anonymous and the police departments.
Anonymous is a
But
joke anymore. They're gonna come after me
yeah,
now, but
Yeah.
the original Anonymous is no longer around. It's just people
no.
who claim to be anonymous. So again, they're gonna come after me now because I said that. But
Screw them.
have fun.
What are they gonna do?
The worst thing to do is bring down a YouTube channel and a Shopify account. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't make any money off of it anyways. Go ahead, guys. You'll get me clout because you just decided to do it. I don't care. But I mean, if we look at it, hacktivism is a lot of it is still overseas, right? So we see a lot with Iran and I forget what the latest one was, but it wasn't too long ago. I think it was earlier this month that 2 Iranians were arrested for what they did to I can't think of the country, but basically they did the same thing.
Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic,
something like that. But they basically brought down 2 websites and put their nonsense up there. But again, I think hacktivism is taking kind of a backseat. Ransomware has become more popular as a form of hacktivism where, hey, we did this because of X, Y, and Z. But it's still, I think it's more financially motivated than true hacktivism, right?
Yeah.
And I only say that because of the hospital in Germany that got hit with ransomware. And as soon as the police notified the people that did it that you hit a hospital, not a university, they gave them the decryption code and unlocked the computers. And I mean, still somebody died. It was still too late at that point. But, they weren't out to do physical damage to people. They were out to make money. Or at least that's the way it seems. So I don't know. I just don't know if we're ever going to get ahead of the game. I don't know if we're ever going to get to that point where we're better off because somebody in Discord put up something about, what's the worst part about technology or they were trying to write a paper on something in privacy and all this other stuff. And I'm like, as much as I love computers, as much as I love, what they can do for us in the future, unless you invest in learning AI and learning programming and learning computers, you're going to get put out of a job. I mean, let's be honest. Down the road, companies are going to save money by using robotics. So if you can't program robotics, you're not going to have a job. If you can't do security or system administration or something to do with computers, you're not going to have a job. Unless you run a small business that just never does it. But I think that, we're just never going to get ahead of the game. I mean, let's be honest. We're always going to be behind.
Yeah.
That's just how defense goes, though.
And it is. When you're playing defense all the time, you're going to be behind. If that's all you're doing is playing defense. Which brings me to another point. We've seen laws and things like that try going out about hack back. Companies being able to hack back. And I don't necessarily think it's nation states. We do that anyways. All nations do it. but companies legitimately being able to hack back if they know something. Now, we all know how hard it is to attribute an attack to somebody. So, can we legally do this with definitive proof? Like, is there a way? Is there really? Does it make any sense to allow it? Now, I'm on the fence only because it would, I think, not. I think it would stop some people. It would be kind of like that deterrent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you can't really, if you don't have the team to really have definitive attribution, and we all know how easy it is to hide where you're coming from and what your name is and everything else, if you don't have that definitive, if you can't attribute it to an attacker, how can you really do it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Oh, you go ahead.
I think it's a very thin line, You get attacked, and then you can claim that it was someone else, like a competitor, and you get into their systems, and you say you're defended because you think it was this person, but you don't have actual proof. It gets to a very thin gray line.
Yeah, and then also it has a trickle effect because, okay, McDonald's hacks Wendy's. You know what I'm saying? And then Wendy's hacks McDonald's. Do you like you just said? Do you have the talent at your company that's are they talented enough to make sure this is who, not just I thought it was them. Then you have lawsuits going back, and you know what I'm saying. So it's just like
Exactly.
it gets into this like it's like this the ramifications of the aftershock
And
is
I think
so big.
even more so, I mean, let's look at it and let's be honest. You can put a company out of business, right?
Yep.
You can,
Right.
whether it's intellectual property or bringing down their servers, or let's just say you attack, and again, to your point, attributing it to the wrong company. So now you bring a company down and you put them out of business. And on top of that, it was the wrong company. So you hit the wrong place and put them out of business. So
And thousands of people lose their jobs.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It can get ugly very quick.
So as much as I love the idea, and I do, the hacker in me, the one that loves breaking into things, I love the idea, but that's just it. I love the idea of it. I don't love the ability to do it, because you can harm a lot of people, you can put a lot of people out of work, and you can bring down a company that did nothing to you. Everybody wants to talk about monopolies and things like that. I mean, go back in a day where you had Microsoft being sued by Apple because Microsoft was a monopoly and this, that, the other, and so they had a whatever the whole gambit was with that. That's what drives innovation, is competition. If you don't have competition, you have no innovation. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I got an iPhone, and the only thing they've really been doing is making them bigger and putting more cameras on them. They've not really been innovating since the first iPhone. And them and Samsung have been going back and forth suing each other over nonsense.
Yeah.
But all Samsung is doing is being competition, and all iPhone is doing is crying about it. So I look at it as, if you are going to try to put your competition out of business so that you can drive the market, that's illegal in the United States. You are not allowed to have a monopoly. So if that's what you're going for, you're still going to get screwed at the end. I don't care how rich you are. We've seen Microsoft fall from that. And how to cut a lot of things. Now, granted, they're still the major operating system in the U.S. and probably globally, but at the end of the day, they took a huge fall in their stocks and things like that because they were a monopoly at the time. Hell, I think in Europe it's illegal to put Internet Explorer in Windows or even Edge now because it was a monopoly on the browser. And that was years and years ago that happened. Europe passed that. They're like, hey, you're not allowed to do that no more. You cannot sell Windows with Internet Explorer built in. Give people the right to install their own browser. So, I think when we see things like that, it's crazy because we look at how hacking can affect innovation, and you bring down somebody like an Apple, like a Google, like an Amazon, And let's be honest, AWS, DynDNS, all these companies have been DDoSed, you know, for what, the past forever?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't too long ago, I was in Kansas and nobody on the East Coast had access to like Facebook and Amazon and all these other places because DynDNS got DDoSed. And everybody was using DynDNS for their DNS services. So, I think it's a big thing where we really gotta look at how attribution and how that works, and if it even makes sense to allow hackback. Because, like I said, as much as I love it, as the offensive mind of me loves it, the business mind of me says you're gonna bury yourself because you're gonna put someone out of business and then you're gonna put yourself out of business with lawsuits and monopolizing things and everything else. That just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that'll be interesting, to say the least, to see how that plays out anyways. Because I don't know if any of those laws have been passed. I know they've been introduced. I don't know if they've been passed. I haven't done the research into it.
Yeah, they gotta relax, man.
Moving on to privacy, though. Who saw the new Amazon? No, not Amazon. Ring. It was Ring that came out with an indoor drone camera.
I think I did read a headline about that. Yeah. I mean, the Ring already had they had like a thing already.
Well, Ring's thing. Here's the thing with Ring. So, and again, I touched on this. I say it once again. I've touched on this news. Ring put out. So police were getting mad at Ring because it was giving people a heads up they were there and they were coming.
Right, yeah.
However, like 200 and some odd precincts or something like that already had access to all Ring cameras via going through Ring to get stuff. I don't know if they needed one. I don't know how it all worked out. Basically, they had the ability to basically get things on a whim. So they were mad because now people could see them. I'm like, well, that's the purpose of these things. So you want to be able to see people, but you don't want them to see you. But that's the purpose of these cameras, that they can see people coming to their door. It's been around for years now, and just now you're getting mad about it?
Right, and Ring is like really good. Like it's really like depending on like the settings. I know like
dude, my Nest camera is off the chain. Like as soon as like the wind can blow the wrong way, it'll be like, hey, you have motion at your camera, and you're like, there ain't nobody there. What do you mean there's motion? I don't even see an animal. The shadow moved.
If it's in the view and it's moving, you're gonna get a notification.
Yeah. So I think it's funny. And when we look at privacy and like these drones, and again, look, people want to complain, and the big thing right now is 5G. And oh my God, I want to strangle people that are like, oh, 5G is gonna be, give me all this stuff. Look,
COVID.
Yeah, 5G is giving you COVID now. 5G is going to implant a chip in you.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
That's how that works.
Yeah. So I look at it, and here's one of my things, though, and here's where I'm at with privacy and how people talk about these things and tracking and all that stuff. I'm like, I'd never want a chip embedded in me. Never.
No, never.
You will never put a chip in me. People are like, well, you have your phone and they can track that. I said, yes, you are correct. Except I can leave my phone wherever I want. I can turn it off. I can throw it away. I can do whatever I want with it. In order for me to have a chip removed, I have to know exactly where it's at, and I have to dig into my own skin.
Yeah.
Big difference. Big difference. But a lot of people that claim privacy still post their entire lives on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it. And I get aggravated because they're like, oh, privacy, privacy, privacy. But here's my entire life story.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's the thing. If you're not in infosec or technology, like a lot of people don't really understand like social media is like you're giving it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're giving your privacy away. A lot of people don't understand that.
And
open source.
Yeah. And again, now I get it. Facebook has come along. I was about to say they come a long way. Now they're arguing with the UK in Europe about pulling out of there because of not wanting Europe or Facebook does not want to be stopped from bringing European data back to the States. Facebook's retarded. Mark Zuckerberg's an idiot. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Great
That's
business
good love
mind, but when
story.
it comes to privacy, he's an idiot. He's just trying to make money for himself.
Yeah,
So, I get aggravated though because there's a lot of things I do put out there publicly when it comes to videos. When it comes to, look, I had someone try to dox me, and they were like, "Oh, this is you." No, that's an old address. I didn't even mind. I registered an old business to that address. That's how you found it. But cool. Kudos on you. But I don't hide who I am. I don't hide what I look like. This is me.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, some people do. And it's the ones that know how to hide that, okay, so you know how to hide yourself. But the moment you put something on Facebook, understand that's gone. And so your privacy's gone. So there are things I do post publicly that I know will be viewed by the public. But there are things that I post to like friends only. And it's in the fine print. It's in that long EULA that none of us ever read. And I'm sure there's some
Right.
people that have read it. But I'm pretty sure in there it says Facebook can send whatever the hell they want to whoever the hell they want. Or Google or whomever you go through. So with that, you know, I think all our privacy is lost regardless. I mean, granted, being in the military, OPM got hacked and all my information was out there. So
Right.
at this point,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, you have all my data if you just go look. So go have fun.
Well,
The worst you can do is improve my credit rating at this point.
Right.
In the military, you just get used to giving your social away to every person that asks for
Oh,
it.
man.
Like, constantly asking you for your social everywhere you go.
It was funny because before the military moved to putting different numbers on the ID cards, I used to carry my social security card with me everywhere. And my wife and other people are like, well, why do you do that? If your wallet's stolen, I'm like, look, I've got a military ID card in here that has my social on it. It really doesn't matter at this point. They have all that information.
It's the same thing.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. So now that they've changed that, I've changed the way I do things. But still, OPM and all these other breaches that have happened, I'm sure my social's out there. And, you know, I look at it, and here's the only thing I wish. You know, when we look at privacy and where our data is going and what's going on with our data, just give me a kickback. Like, if you're going to sell my data, which I know you're doing anyways, just give me a kickback. Like
Right.
pay me for my data.
It's my data. I want something out of it.
Right?
You know?
Like, look, if you're going to do it, do it. But give me some money too. Because, look, I'm broke.
Looks like Equifax at some point, like trying to get people to like they were like trying to give out like some type of gift card for their breach or something.
Yeah, and it's always what it is. Oh, we're going to give you identity protection for a year or 2 years or 3 years. I don't want that because my identity's gone. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly.
You know, just pay me.
Pointless.
Give me
Yeah,
money.
you-
Give me
you give
$100
me
grand and I'll be happy, all right? For $100 grand, I'll shut up about it.
100 grand will set me up for life.
Right? I'll be good. My debt will be gone. I'll be all right.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I just look at it like privacy is so big, and we talk about it over and over and over again. And to this day, I know I have none. I have none. Nobody that's online has any privacy. Now, unless you've gone about it in such a way that you don't have any pictures of you up, you've never registered anything with your name. If you're on Facebook, it's with a fake email that you use through 10 VPNs, and they can't trace it back to you, and you know, you only use DuckDuckGo or some other non-logging freaking search engine and, you know, all this stuff. So there's ways to do privacy, but let's be honest. If you've ever been on Facebook, MySpace, Google, it doesn't matter what it is. They know where you are, who you are, what your name is, what your address is, probably how much you get paid at this point. You know, they have all this information. So I get the concern about privacy, but is it already too late? At this point in our lives, is it too late for anybody who's not, say, under the age of maybe 5?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know I was on. I mean, I remember being a kid, like on MySpace. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Tom was my best friend. He was my first friend on MySpace.
There's like I've been online. It's like they got it. They got it all, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest.
I was-
Google doesn't erase anything.
Yes.
Google has data centers upon data centers of just data on all of us. So, I
There.
mean, even before Google with Yahoo, and Yahoo got breached, all your email accounts, if you had a Yahoo account, guess what? That went out the window.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
hell, I had an old a Yahoo account. I actually got back into it a few
Same.
years back just to see if there was anything left there, and they're like, "Oh, you need to re-put in your password." I'm like, "Hey, I'm surprised I remember this." Like,
Right?
cool. But it's been years. I don't even touch Yahoo anymore. Are they even still around? Anybody know?
Yeah,
No.
they're not as big anymore, but they're still around.
Yeah, they still have like their, yeah, I mean, hell, even MSN, like they're still like a thing. Like,
Yeah,
I think Hotmail's still an email address that people still use.
yeah, like there's still all these old email places are still there. They're just not who they
Prevalent.
were. Yeah.
my email's a Hotmail.
Oh yeah, it is. I saw that. That's right. It is. I used to have a Hotmail account too. I don't even remember what it was anymore. I had one. But yeah, I mean, our information's been out there because you figure before security became a thing, we put in our first and last name, we put on our addresses, we put in our birth dates, we put in all this stuff, and it's gone. Everybody has it. It's already out there. So it comes down to training. Oh, I say training, teaching the younger generation, teaching our kids and our kids, how to be safe online. Because as adults, if we're looking at privacy, I'm sorry, it's too late for us. No matter who wants to push it, no matter who wants to do what, it's too late for us. But it's not too late for our kids. It's not too late for our kids. So we have to be able to get to that point where we can do these things. So the one thing I will charge you guys with, if you get the opportunity, if you have kids or ever have kids or whatever the case may be, is get in the schools and talk to these kids. Not only teach them cybersecurity or be able to volunteer and talk about cybersecurity, but talk about privacy and really the dangers of being online and how to protect yourself online. Because that's something that we're sorely missing. And I think it was last year or the year before, I went to my kid's school and I said, "Who here has a Facebook account?" And I'm talking 9, 10-year-olds. Me. That's
That's
not
crazy.
it's not legal, right? They're like, "What?"
No, not even close. But they don't stop it.
I'm like, it's not legal.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you gotta be 13.
You used to have to be in college.
It was
Uh,
started in college, and I know because my buddy had ptmarion.com. Dude's a doctor now, doing great things. But he started ptmarion.com at the same time Facebook got started. But Point Marion was just something he was doing for a pit. And it was something that we did for fun, and he was doing a really good job with it. I'm surprised he basically trashed it. But Facebook took off, and so everybody went to Facebook. But again, that was around the same time MySpace was still fighting
Yeah.
with Facebook back and forth
Yeah.
because you figure I graduated college in '09, so Facebook, I think MySpace kind of dropped off the radar around '06, '07, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, things like that, we need to be able to get through. Because again, when we found it, when social networking came out, we were in college. We were in, some of us even high school, but you were still old enough at that point to have these accounts. You got kids on TikTok, you got kids on, Facebook and emails and everything else. So when it comes to privacy, we just got to be able to talk to the kids. Even if you don't have kids, like, hey, I want to volunteer and talk about it. You guys know cybersecurity. If there's a school
Yeah.
around you, go talk to the kids. Like, let them know the dangers. Let them know, what's right and wrong and ethical and unethical. Because, you can actually get kids into cybersecurity earlier so that they do more with privacy than if you wait until later on down the line when it's too late. So that's a big thing. In order to get privacy, we gotta hit them young. We gotta get into the schools and start talking to these kids, because they're on there. I've had to yell at my own kids. I got 5 of them. It's hard to keep track of everything they're doing. But yeah, I've had to yell at my own kids about it and the stuff that they're doing. So I try to keep track up with everything, but it's not always possible. So I find things out a little bit late and sometimes get a little angry. Like, what are you doing? Why? Why? Have I not taught you better than this? Why are you on TikTok?
I had a MySpace when I was like 5.
God, you're making me feel old, Parker.
I was born in '99.
Oh
Made
my
a
God.
MySpace in, like, 2004.
Dude, I am. Oh, we're not gonna get into how old I am now. You just made me feel old. Thanks, guy. You're a peach. You're a fucking peach. Tom was
You
your
know,
best
I
friend
got
too?
bored one day and
Was
I
Tom
wish
your
that
only friend,
happened.
Parker?
Huh?
So was Tom your only friend?
Yeah.
Dude, that reminds me of South Park though. Look, I know I'm getting off of it, but a little bit. But like the Facebook episode of South Park, where the one kid has no friend, and I think it's Kyle is his only friend. It
Oh,
kind of reminds me
yeah.
of MySpace
Yeah.
with Tom, because you know there were kids out there where Tom was their only friend.
But they were really getting us into HTML and CSS, and we didn't even know what we were doing.
And they did, and that was, and I think that was the benefit to MySpace.
Yeah.
It really was, because you had kids, you had teenagers getting into designing websites, essentially,
You had no idea.
without realizing what they were doing.
Because
And
you wanted your page to look cool.
yeah,
We wanted to be the
and
best of the best.
exactly. Now look, I'm not gonna lie. I liked getting malware to see what it would do. So those pages you would go on, or be like, you have to download this to view this page. Do I look like an
Yeah.
idiot? You know what? Today I am.
I'm not
Today I'm
gonna
gonna
say
be an
that.
idiot. So this is back. I had Windows Vista, and I had a top of the line. I ain't gonna say top of the line. I built the computer myself. It was pretty hefty for what I had. And I put this, and I was like, download, and the UAC came up and was like, do you want to run? Yes, I do. Go. Yo, dude, that was Logic Bomb. I don't know. It bombed the shit out of my computer to the point I had like pop up after pop up just coming. And so I had to get into MS Config and turn it off from startup. But as things are popping up, you're trying to do this and hit Alt Tab to get to it, so it would stop it from startup and then reboot my computer. And I never went in to see exactly what it did. I like what all the callbacks were or anything like that. I never investigated it further. I just want to see what it would do as a malware, because I knew that's what it was. And man, I spent a good 20 minutes trying to get into MS Config and turn it off from startup so that I could reboot my computer and it wouldn't load.
Oh man.
So yeah, man, like things like that were fun to me though. Like you figure I grew up in a time of punters on AOL. Like you had dial-up, and the first freaking bombs you had were ones that booted you off your dial-up, which you knew took you forever to get into anyways. And my buddy would be the one to send them to me. So mad. Like, dude.
And that's how you know you have good friends.
Dude, I did. I had really good friends that like to be jackasses every so often. Like, hey, dude, check this out. Oh, sweet. He'd hit enter, and there goes my internet connection. I'd call him up and kick him offline. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
That reminds me of those LimeWire days when they shut
Oh
down.
yeah.
Oh, LimeWire? Napster?
I had several computers trying to download movies and music.
So it's funny because I used to yell at when I got out of my Air Force training. So the first computer I ever built, I built for $600 back in 2004. And the shop I went to down by Keesler Air Force Base is called comp.com. Funny enough, that was the name of their store as well as their online site. So I go there, and because of what my paycheck was is like an E3, I had $600 to my name. And they were like, we'll charge you $600. I was like, well, I eat at the freaking defect. I don't care, whatever. $600, here you go. And so that was that I think they made it tax free or whatever. And so I got it and built my first computer. So I was like, oh, I can build computers now. I know what I'm doing. So I go home, and for $300, I built my Graham. Her for probably, I don't even know how many computers she had at that point. But broadband was around, so they had DSL, always on connection. So I had told my uncle, and I told my Graham, and I told everybody else, do not put AOL on this computer I will hunt you down because I will not be fixing this every freaking week because you decided to put AOL on here and AOL is a virus. I mean, it wasn't, but it was at the same time for how the resource utilization was. I mean, I only put $300 on the computer. It was meant to get her online, allow her to do some searches, and go about her day.
Right.
Every time I went over there, AOL was on there. I was like, I'm going to kill you. They're like, it's running slow. I'm like, of course it's running slow.
Man.
So, but yeah, guys, man, it's crazy how far we've come. It's crazy how far you guys are coming. And honestly, I'd love to see you guys do more. Cedrick, you've already started, man. You've got the right mindset. You know what you want to do. You know what you're trying to get to, and just keep at it. Parker, same with you, man. I know where you're at now. I know what you're trying to get to. And I do. I want you to look for jobs and reach out to some of these hiring managers. Reach out to some of these directors. Reach out to some of these, security people. Get on Twitter, man, and reach out to some of these people on Twitter and just get your name known of what you've done. If you have to start a blog, whatever the case may be. And really, start making a name for yourself in that aspect. Because let's be honest, with your background and with only really having BTL and, Chimera, do you have a Security Plus? I forget. Did you get that yet? No.
Not yet.
So you have the analyst side, but you don't have these certs that, a lot of companies are looking for. You have one that they don't know about yet. You have training that they don't know about yet. So really get in touch with these people and be like, look, this is what I've done. This is the certificate. Look it up. Reach out to me. I'll vouch for you. I don't care. I'll put my name on it. I better put my name on it. I was on the board for the certification. So, I don't care. But get out there, get known, start reaching out to these people because it's the only way, unless you get a Security Plus and maybe, I don't know, a CYSA Plus or a Pentest Plus or whatever the case may be, that's the only way you're going to get known. So, I ask of you, please start reaching out to some of these hiring managers, directors, things of that level, so that you can bypass some of this HR stuff, that which is the problem you're going to run into going forward until you have the experience or other certifications. Other than that, guys, look, it's been a blast. I love having you on here. Next week is live. You want to come back next week? Come back. When I do live, I allow whoever come on. Like,
Nice.
so I'm game for it. But yes, next week, next Friday night is a live security happy hour. You are welcome to come. Anybody's welcome to join the YouTube, get in on the chat, get in on the, be able to watch it live. I'll be there. We'll have anybody else who shows up be there. If you want to be a part of it, shoot me an email, cyberwarrior@cyberwarriorstudios.com. Put security happy hour in the subject line and just let me know, and we'll be able to get you on. If you want to get on any other episode that I record and is not live, same thing. Shoot me an email. We'll get it taken care of. Now, beyond that, please check out the merch site, cyberwarriorstudios.com. Go ahead, go on patreon.com/cyberwarriorstudios. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell. And if you're on podcast listening to this, I hope you had a good time. Please download the next episode, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend.